My patience at an all-time low. We need to make a reservation. I'm not standing at some fucking bar. What in the fuck is Morrison wearing? Preston asks himself. Is that really a Glen plaid suit with a checkered shirt? That's not Morrison, Price says. Who is it then? Preston asks, taking his glasses off again. That's Paul Owen, Price says. That's not Paul Owen, I say. Paul Owen's on the other side of the bar, over there. Owen stands at the bar wearing a double-breasted wool suit. He's handling the Fisher account, someone says. Lucky bastard, someone else murmurs. Lucky Jew bastard, Preston says. Oh, Jesus, Preston, I say. What does that have to do with anything? Listen, I've seen the bastard sitting in his office on the phone with CEOs spinning a fucking menorah. The bastard brought a Hanukkah bush into the office last December, Preston says, suddenly peculiarly animated. You spin a dreidel, Preston, I say calmly. Not a menorah, you spin a dreidel. Oh my God, Bateman, do you want me to go over to the bar and ask Freddie to fry you up some fucking potato pancakes? Preston asks, truly alarmed. Some latkes? No, I say. Just cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks. The voice of reason. Price leans forward to pat me on the back. The boy next door. Yeah, a boy next door who, according to you, let a British corporate finance analyst intern sodomize him up the ass, I say ironically. I said you were the voice of reason, Price says. I didn't say you weren't a homosexual. Or redundant, Preston adds. Yeah, I say, staring directly at Price. Ask Meredith if I'm a homosexual. That is, if she'll take the time to pull my dick out of her mouth. Meredith's a fag hag, Price explains, unfazed. That's why I'm dumping her. Oh, wait, guys, listen, I got a joke. Preston rubs his hands together. Preston, Price says, you are a joke. You do know you weren't invited to dinner. By the way, nice jacket, non-matching but complimentary. Price, you are a bastard. You are so fucking mean to me it hurts, Preston says, laughing. Anyway, so JFK and Pearl Bailey meet at this party and they go back to the Oval Office to have sex, and so they fuck, and then JFK goes to sleep and Preston stops. Oh gosh, now what happens? Oh yeah, so Pearl Bailey says, Mr. President, I want to fuck you again, and so he says, I'm going to sleep now, and in 30, no, wait. Preston pauses again, confused. Now, no, 60 minutes, no. Okay, 30 minutes, I'll wake up and we'll do it again, but you've got to keep one hand on my cock and the other on my balls. And she says, okay, but why do I have to keep one hand on your dick and one hand on your balls? And he notices that Van Patten is idly doodling something on the back of a napkin. Hey, Van Patten, are you listening to me? I'm listening, Van Patten says, irritated. Go ahead, finish it. One hand on my cock, one hand on my balls, go on. Luis Carruthers is still standing at the bar waiting for a drink. Now it looks to me like his silk bow tie is by Agnes B. It's all unclear. I'm not, Price says. And he says because, again, Preston falters. There's a long silence. Preston looks at me. Don't look at me, I say. It's not my joke. And he says, my mind's a blank. Is that the punchline? My mind's a blank. He says, Preston, Price sighs. You are one unfunny bastard. My mind's a blank, Craig asks me. I don't get it. Oh yeah, Preston says. Listen, I remember because the last time I fucked a nigger, she stole my wallet. He starts chuckling immediately. And after a short moment of silence, the table cracks up too, except for me. That's it, that's the punchline, Preston says proudly, relieved. Then back to his even Price laughs. Remember this, guys. Few things perform in life as well as a Ken would. He exits. Yabba dabba do, Van Patten says. Hey, did anyone know cavemen got more fiber than we get? McDermott asks. Pastels. I'm on the verge of tears by the time we arrive at Pastel's, since I'm positive we won't get seated, but the table is good, and relief that is almost tidal in scope washes over me in an awesome wave. At Pastel's, McDermott knows the maitre d', and though we made our reservations from a cab only minutes ago, we're immediately led past the overcrowded bar into the pink, brightly lit main dining room and seated at an excellent booth for 4 up front. It's really impossible to get a reservation at Pastel's, and I think Van Patten, myself, even Price are impressed by, maybe even envious of, McDermott's prowess in securing a table. After we piled into a cab on Water Street, we realized that no one had made reservations anywhere, and while debating the merits of a new Californian Sicilian bistro on the Upper East Side, my panic's so great I almost ripped Zagat in two. The consensus seemed to emerge. Price had the only dissenting voice, but he finally shrugged and said, "I don't give a shit." And we used his portaphone to make the reservation. He slipped his Walkman on and turned the volume up so loud that the sound of Vivaldi was audible even with the windows halfway open and the noise of the uptown traffic blasting into the taxi. Van Patten and McDermott made rude jokes about the size of Tim's dick, and I did too. Outside Pastel's, Tim grabbed the napkin with Van Patten's final version of his carefully phrased question for GQ and tossed it at a bum huddling outside the restaurant, feebly holding up a sloppy cardboard sign, "I am hungry and homeless, please help me." Things seemed to be going smoothly. The maitre d' has sent over 4 complimentary bellinis, but we ordered drinks anyway. The romance of seeing Eddie kiss me, our waitress is a little hard-bodied, and even Price seems relaxed, though he hates the place. Plus, there are 4 women at the table opposite us, great, big tits. One is wearing a chemise dress and double-faced wool by Calvin Klein. Another is wearing a wool knit dress and jacket with silk fine bound by Jeffrey Beal. Another is wearing a symmetrical skirt with pleated tulle and an embroidered velvet bustier by, I think, Christian McCoy, plus high-heeled shoes by Stephen Morales. And the last one is wearing a black striped t-shirt and a red now that you're at it, has obviously been spotted by the person and flashes a bright, toothy smile. A veritable shitload. I crane my neck, but can't figure out who's doing anything. "It's Scott Montgomery," Price says. "Isn't it? It's Scott Montgomery." "Perhaps," Van Patten teases. "It's that dwarf Scott Montgomery," says Price. "Price," Van Patten says, "you're priceless." "Watch me act thrilled," Price says, turning around. "Well, as thrilled as I can get meeting someone from Georgia." "Whoa," McDermott says, "and he's dressed to impress." "Hey," Price says, "I'm depressed. I mean impressed." Wow, I say, spotting Montgomery. Elegant navies. Subtle plaids, Van Patten whispers. Lots of beige, Price says. You know. Here he comes, I say, bracing myself. Scott Montgomery walks over to our booth wearing a double-breasted navy blue blazer with mock tortoiseshell buttons, a pre-washed, wrinkled cotton striped dress shirt with red accent stitching, a red, white, and blue fireworks print silk tie by Hugo Boss, and plum-washed wool trousers with a quadruple pleated front and slashed pockets by Lazo. He's holding a glass of champagne and hands it to the girl he's with. Definite model type. Thin, okay tits, no ass, high heels. And she's wearing a wool crepe skirt and a wool and cashmere velour jacket. And draped over her arm is a wool and cashmere velour coat, all by Louis Del Olio. High-heeled shoes by Susan Bennis Warren Edwards. Sunglasses by Alan Mickley, pressed leather bag from Hermes. Hey fellas, how y'all doing? Montgomery speaks in a thick Georgia twang. This is Nikki, this is McDonald, Van Buren, Bateman, Nice Tan, and Mr. Price. He shakes only Timothy's hand and then takes the champagne glass from Nikki. Nikki smiles, politely, like a robot. Probably doesn't speak English. Montgomery, Price says in a kindly conversational tone, staring at Nikki. How have things been? Well, fellas, Montgomery says. See y'all got the primo table. Get the check yet? Just kidding. Listen, Montgomery, Price says, staring at Nikki, but still being unusually kind to someone I thought was a stranger. Squash? Call me, Montgomery says absently, looking over the room. Is that Tyson? Here's my card. Great, Price says, pocketing it. Thursday? Can. Going to Dallas tomorrow, but... Montgomery's already moving away from the table, hurrying towards someone else, snapping for Nikki. Yeah, next week. Nikki smiles at me, then looks at the floor. Pink, blue, lime green tiles crisscrossing each other in triangular patterns, as if it had some kind of answer, held some sort of clue, offered a coherent reason as to why she was stuck with Montgomery. Idly, I wonder if she's older than him, and then if she's flirting with me. Later, Price is saying. Later, fellas. Montgomery's already about halfway across the room. Nikki slinks behind him. I was wrong. She does have an ass. 800 million. McDermott whistles, shaking his head. College? I ask. A joke, Price hints. Rollins, I guess. Get this, McDermott says. Hampton City. He's a parasite, a loser, a weasel, Van Patten concludes. But he's worth 800 million, McDermott repeats emphatically. Go over and give the dwarf head. Will that shut you up? Price says. I mean, how impressed can you get, McDermott? Anyway, I mentioned, nice babe. That girl is hot, McDermott agrees. Affirmative. Price nods. Man, Van Patten says, distressed. I know that chick. Oh, bullshit. We all know. Let me guess, I say. Picked her up at Tunnel, right? No, he says, then after sipping his drink. She's a model. Anorexic, alcoholic, uptight bitch. Totally French. I'm joking, says. Want a bet? So what? McDermott shrugs. I fuck her. She drinks a liter of still a day, then throws it up and re-drinks it, McDermott. Van Patten explains. Total alky. Total cheap alky, Price murmurs. I don't care, McDermott says bravely. She's beautiful. I want to fuck her. I want to marry her. I want her to have my children. Jesus, Van Patten says, practically gagging. Who wants to marry a chick who's going to give birth to a jug of vodka and cranberry juice? He has a point, I said. Yeah, he also wants to shack up with the Armenian chick at the bar, Price sneers. What'll she give birth to? A bottle of Corval and a pint of peach juice? Asks, exasperated, craning his neck. Oh, Jesus, fuck off, you faggots. Van Patten sighs. The maitre d' stops by to say hello to McDermott, then notices we don't have our complimentary bellinis, and runs off before any of us can stop him. I'm not sure how McDermott knows Alain so well. Maybe Cecilia? And it slightly pisses me off, but I decide to even up the score a little bit by showing everyone my new business card. I pull it out of the Elston wallet from Bundt worth $850 and slam it on the table, waiting for reactions. What's that, a gram? Price says, not apathetically. New card. What's that, a gram? Price says, not apathetically. New card. I try to act casual about it, but I'm smiling proudly. What do you think? Whoa, McDermott says, lifting it up, fingering the card, genuinely impressed. Very nice, take a look. He hands it to Van Patten. Picked them up from the printers yesterday, I mentioned. Cool coloring, Van Patten says, studying the card closely. That's bone, I point out. And the lettering is something called Cillian Rail. Cillian Rail? McDermott asks. Yeah, not bad, huh? It is very cool, Bateman. Van Patten says guardedly, the jealous bastard, but that's nothing. pulls out his wallet and slaps a card next to an ashtray. Look at this. We all lean over and inspect David's card, and Price quietly says, "That's really nice." A brief spasm of jealousy courses through me when I notice the elegance of the color and the classy type. I clench my fist as Van Patten says smugly, "Eggshell with Romalian type." He turns to me. "What do you think?" "Nice," I croak, but manage to nod as the busboy brings 4 fresh Bellinis. "Jesus," Price says, holding the card up to the light, ignoring the new drinks. "This is really super. How'd a nitwit like you get so tasteful?" I'm looking at Van Patten's card and then at mine, and cannot believe that Price actually likes Van Patten's better. Dizzy, I sip my drink, then take a deep breath. "But wait," Price says. "You ain't seen nothing yet." He pulls his out of an inside coat pocket and slowly, dramatically turns it over for our inspection and says, "Mine." Even I have to admit it's magnificent. Suddenly the restaurant seems far away, hushed, the noise distant, a meaningless hum compared to this card, and we all hear Price's words. "Raised lettering, pale nimbus white." "Holy shit," Van Patten exclaims. "I've never seen..." "Nice, very nice, I have to admit. But wait, let's see Montgomery's." Price pulls it out, and though he's acting nonchalant, I don't see how he can ignore its subtle off-white coloring, its tasteful thickness. I am unexpectedly depressed that I started this. "Pizza. Let's order a pizza," McDermott says. "Doesn't anyone want to split a pizza? Red snapper." Bateman wants that," he says, rubbing his hands eagerly
It's like
together.
earthy tasting.
I pick up Montgomery's card and actually
I've
finger
never
it.
had this before.
For the sensation the card gives off to the pads of my fingers. "Nice, huh?" Price's tone suggests he realizes I'm jealous. "Yeah," I say offhandedly, giving Price the card like I don't give a shit, but I'm finding it hard to swallow.
I would order it.
"Red snapper pizza," McDermott reminds me. I'm fucking starving.